welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Staltari, and this is How Roots Will Travel. I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last year or so, I have been featuring each filles mariées, the marriageable girls, and getting to know their stories a little bit better. These are tremendous women that really made a mark in Quebec history. And today we're going to be doing episode 59. But before we begin, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know: subscribe, like, and notify. The next three are ways to help the channel grow: coffee, Patreon, and also YouTube, PayPal on my Have Roots Will Travel website. All of these are ways that you can show your support, and I want to thank all of you who have shown and are showing your support on a monthly basis. Thank you so much. Les filles mariées between 1634 and 1662 were about 260 ladies who came to the colony and tried to help build a true country. Obviously, 10 girls per year, because that's what it averaged out to, is not enough in 28 years to build a country. But those girls who came and actually creative families are truly the grandmothers of Quebec, New France, and their filles du roi, les filles du roi, who came after them, are truly the founding mothers. But these ladies came to a place that wasn't even civilized and were absolutely brave and courageous to come. So we salute them. And let's have a look at our filles mariées of this episode. And now we come to Les Filles Mariées, episode 59, Marguerite Doucinet. She comes to us as a viewer request. And just in case you're wondering, there is an Elizabeth Doucinet, her younger sister, who would come 1 year later, but then would be included as part of Les Filles du Roi, which we've not done Elizabeth yet, but she'll be coming up soon. Marguerite was born 1641 in La Rochelle, France. Her parents were Pierre Doucinet and Florence Cantot. Let's talk a little bit about La Rochelle. It is part of the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region, and it is part, as you can see on the right hand of that map, and then the left side of your screen, the upper left, Charente-Maritime is the département of which La Rochelle is. It was founded during the 10th century and became an important harbor in the 12th. Until the 15th century, La Rochelle was to be the largest French harbor on the Atlantic coast, dealing mainly in wine, salt, and cheese. The name was first recorded in 961 as Rupella, from a Latin diminutive meaning of little rock. La Rochelle has one of the richest histories of all the towns of France. From its beginnings as an area where the Knights of Templar had their strongest base. Eleanor married Henry Plantagenet in 1152, who became King of England as Henry II in 1154, just 2 years later, thus putting La Rochelle under British rule, or Plantagenet rule, until Louis VIII captured it back in the 1224 siege of La Rochelle. During the British control of the city in 1185, Henry II had the Vauclair castle built, remains of which are still visible in the Place de Verdun. From 1568, La Rochelle became a center for the Huguenots. It was in La Rochelle that the Protestant revolutions occurred and created the uprising that would become known as the Siege of La Rochelle. Throughout the 1600s, the Huguenots were truly, banished and created lots of problems for them. Now, Marguerite happened to be baptized in the Protestant church at La Rochelle, making her a Protestant. So obviously she was persecuted along with her family, and we can only surmise that this is probably the reason why she would have come to New France. Marguerite would arrive in New France in 1662, and let's see who becomes her groom. The groom that she would select and who would select her, his name was Philippe Natou de Labrie. He was born in 1632 in Grisi, Sweden. France. His parents were Jacques Matou and Paquette Moutier. You can see that it is part of Île-de-France, and that is the region, and inside that region we have the département of Seine-et-Marne. Now, there are about 2,500 inhabitants that live there now. And Grissy-Swin is part of, known as the Rose Capital. I picked a particularly rainy picture, but really and truly that is what it's renowned for. And the church no longer exists, but I was able to find a depiction of an old postcard, L'Église de Grissy-Swin, and it dates from the 12th century. So I think that, and it says demolished in 1919, according to the postcard. So that was interesting to find. So this is where Philippe is from. I am not sure when Philippe would have come to Quebec, but we know that he was there on December 28, 1662 at Quebec City, because that is when they were married. He would settle down at Notre-Dame-des-Anges or Charlesbourg. And Charlesbourg is a borough of Quebec City in the northeastern part of the city, west of the borough of Beauport. Now, the origins of this place began with the concession of the Seigneurie of Notre-Dame-des-Anges in 1626. And at that time, the seigneury extended from the Charles River northward, encompassed all the modern boroughs of Limoilou and Charlesbourg. In 1665, the new intendant, Jean Talon, set out to establish 3 new villages further north on the plateau. This caused friction with the Jesuits, who were the seigneurs of the area. The first of the villages consisted of a 25 arpents square. Arpents, remember, are acres, or a version of it, in which a 5 arpents square, the trécarré, was reserved for the church, presbytery, and cemetery. Now, have a look at Le Charlesbourg here. Look at that on the upper left of your screen. You can see how there's a square in the middle, and then there's like spokes along, and that is the pattern that he established. So the church would have been in the middle, and the land of the people would have been facing the church rather than a river or that sort of thing. It wasn't linear. It was in that star-shaped pattern. And then we have Bourgoin and Pitstoring were also set up that way. And so it's like a star shape. And you can see in the 1960s, an aerial view, it still looks exactly like that. You can see here as well that the Charlesbourg, where it is in terms of Quebec City and all of that, it's there on the map. And the upper right of the middle of the screen is an old map of Notre-Dame-des-Anges and all the areas that it encompassed. Now, the church that would eventually form was Saint-Charles de Borromée, and this is a depiction in 1696. It is obviously an artist's illustration of it. Now, in the 1666 census, we have Philippe, we have Marguerite, we have Jeanne, their daughter, and then another daughter, Marie-Magdalene. In 1667, we have Philippe, we have Marguerite, we have Madeleine, who is 2 years old, and we have Jeanne, who is 3, and they own 2 arpents, so about an acre, half an acre to an acre of land. He would go on to have 10 children. Jeanne would marry Thomas Chartrand and have 8 children, 6 of whom would make it to adulthood. Marie-Madeleine married Jean Aucard and had 4 children, 3 of whom made it to adulthood. She then married René Dagneau and had 3 more children, 1 of whom made it to adulthood. Marie would marry Pierre Cardinal and have 7 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Jeanne Anne-Marie would marry Thierry Pierre Lorrain and have 9 children, 8 of whom made it to adulthood. We have Catherine Angélique, who married Jacques Lantier and had 13 children, 8 of whom made it to adulthood. Jacques Philippe would not marry. Jean would die at 2 years of age. Françoise Marguerite married Paul Laporte and would have 8 children, 7 of whom would make it to adulthood. Marie would marry Jean-Baptiste Chamillard and have 6 children, all of whom made it. Marie-Madeleine would die at infancy. Now, in the 1681 census, we find Philippe, we have Marguerite, we have their children, Marie-Anne, We have Angélique. We have Jacques. We have Jean. We have Philippe. We know that they have one gun. They have two goats. And by now, they now have 15 alpha valeurs and about 12 to 13 acres of land. Sometime in 1684, Marguerite and Philippe would move to Montreal. Very odd. I don't see that happening a lot where they go from Quebec City to Montreal. And vice versa for that matter. So it's just really interesting that they decided to move. I'm not really sure. If anyone can give me insight, that would be awesome. Philippe would die at Montreal in 1688 at the age of 55. He and Marguerite would have been married 25 years. Marguerite would pass away 10 years later at the age of 57. They were absolutely remarkable in that they left 214 descendants, just remarkable. So we are just truly grateful to them both. Here are some of the resources that I love to use when I'm researching. I'd love for you to explore Maple Stars and Stripes. I think you'll find it very interesting. I wasn't a podcast, aficionado before, but she made me one. The Sandra Goodwin is absolutely phenomenal and really one of my inspirations. All of the other websites are phenomenal in terms of helping you. I also want to point out the American French Genealogical Society that has been going on since 1978, so just a remarkable place as well. All of them contribute much to our research, so I would absolutely recommend that you visit all of these websites and just kind of say, okay, does that help me or does that not help me? So check them all out. So we end our episode 59. Marguerite Doucinet was a remarkable lady, leaving us with 214 descendants as of 1729. I can only imagine how many are out there now. I think she was a remarkable lady in that she wasn't afraid to pick up stakes and move to Montreal toward the end of her life. And I think that she truly was a woman of substance and was able to withstand and make a difference in the lives not only of her family, but also in the life and the tapestry that is Quebec. Thank you, Marguerite, for your perseverance, for your sacrifices, and for most of all, coming to our shores and blessing us with your presence. We are truly grateful. And I am truly grateful for all of the patrons and supporters that I have and it continue to grow. I truly appreciate each and every one of you, all of my subscribers. We are just a remarkable group of people who are passionate about Les Filles du Roi. So I thank you so much for sticking with me and in always empowering and supporting me. Thank you so much. Until I see you on episode number 60, I will say au revoir for now.